everyone? Welcome to Life and Art with Shenpenn. Today is an exciting episode, especially for me because I've been actually eagerly waiting for this conversation with an amazing soul, my spiritual brother, amazing talent, soul, reggae, you name it. He's a globetrotter and very grounded person with cool dreads. Mr. Rick Buckman.
Thank you so much. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
Good to see you. So, I'm just going to dive into it.
Let's go right in.
Yeah. Where you at right now in life?
Where am I at in life? I just turned 38. And, you had this, I feel like I'm at the state where things are about to happen. And I feel like this weird intersection of being young and being old.
Yeah.
Being jaded and being
Crossroads.
the crossroads, and feeling this angst and this joy and this settledness, as well as like this expansiveness. And it's I feel pretty fiery, right these days. There's a lot of fire happening, and just trying to stay on path, path.
Path. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go with that path?
That's the question. That's a really good question. Because we start off in our lives, aiming towards something, and in that pursuit, you kind of define yourself, and you start to shape and mold your mind. And so, I've always aimed my work and my art and what I stand for and what I say I stand for in things that I believe are based around compassion and around spiritual growth and respect for the environment and respect for everybody and people. And that begins to dominate your art and how you live in the world and with the choices that you make.
Right.
And, I think as this has become more of a thing now that I'm, starting to get recognized as an artist and someone who believes and sings about these things.
Tell me about your dark times. Your how do you deal, or how have you dealt in the past with afflictions or with brokenness?
Well, I think there's been a brokenness that is kind of persisted throughout, and you fix bits and pieces here, like when you clean your house, and you kind of clean a little part of your house, and then you're like, okay, that's enough, and then you go on to something else, and it kind of gets bad again. And then it's shocking, when it comes back to you. It comes back to you, or we have an enormous capacity to fool ourselves.
Yeah.
And to think that we've dealt with something, feel that we've solved some aspect of ourselves, some flaw, or to be in denial about our coping mechanisms. Where our coping mechanisms might be our avoidance of things. I know that, there is a passiveness and a avoidance, of issues that I might have. And it's frustrating when you see it come up again. You, and to know that the thing with being self-aware is that, you are aware, you become aware of yourself fooling yourself, right?
Yeah. You're also aware of all your negativities and your own personal flaws.
Right.
That's actually, I think, when you are really self-aware.
Yeah.
Not the good parts. Oh, I'm really good at this. But whoa, I really get angry at this. I get upset. I get jealous, or I get, insecure, or that realization, and then to know why that is happening.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing place to be. How do you feel? I mean, you're 38. you've traveled, you've grown up here, and you are a pretty good blend, as far as I know, of the East and the West. There's a balance. And how would you like to see the men of tomorrow? The men of tomorrow.
Well, I think I have been very fortunate in terms of having a strong role model in my father, who is a very caring person. You know, he's a doctor, and the level of care that he would give to his patients. And he's a woman's doctor, so he delivers babies and
So there's a sensitivity.
There is a sensitivity, there's a real sensitivity to my father. And my mother is a very, very strong woman, and very intelligent and accomplished and a powerful woman.
Yeah.
So I have two very strong role models, and it's. So I think that in terms of that, I've been very fortunate in terms of how I feel a male.
You grew up as a male.
Yeah, as a male should be, and at the same time, we are as humans, we're so full of inconsistencies.
Right.
Where, so just for instance, my grandfather on my mom's side was a very traditional Chinese man. You wouldn't dare say no to him.
Yeah.
And very traditional, and had at the same traditional, he sent all his daughters to abroad to study, to England, to Australia, and so it was very forward thinking of him. At the same time, he had a mistress, and wasn't really that nice, and could be really angry at times,
Right.
and he had these really strong, beautiful sides of him. He could also be quite mean and bullheaded.
Yeah.
So, I think that is, I'm aware of inconsistencies within myself, where you can be really nice and charming and actually care, and sometimes it's hard, if you really truly look at yourself, to realize that maybe you don't treat maybe women as well as you should.
I think it's a work, and then the purpose of this is healing, and hopefully healing others. Because we live in a time where being a man is a lot more challenging today than any of our forefathers faced. Because I don't agree with the way things were in the past, the whole patriarchal, male dominant. But there was a system, and there was a certain way of doing things, and that's how it was.
Right.
We don't agree with that, but we don't have we're figuring out now. I think for the first time we're really we're getting to know each other, men, women, men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're breaking down a lot of ideas of how men should be, or how women should be, and how we should be together, and
even how men, for two guys, how we should be. You know what I mean?
Right.
The ability to be vulnerable and with each other as a friend, and not have that, because we're mostly men. We're driven by ego and pride too. But to be able to put that aside and to be sensitive with another man, I think it's a beautiful phase we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's got some.
Have you ever questioned yourself about self-love?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I
Tell
think
us about it.
daily. I think.
What does that mean to you?
I think that means that I've read a lot. I know that you're supposed to love yourself, and you're supposed to accept yourself.
Yeah.
But it can be really hard.
It
can be really hard. You can, and especially since there's become, I feel like this pressure for myself and this drive to succeed as a musician and as a human being, as a humanitarian, and there's this force on one hand propelling you and these ideals pushing you forward, and then there's this evaluation of yourself of,
Right.
well, I'm falling short. You know, I'm not succeeding in the ways that you say I should.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and or you know, things are saying like you're not good enough, or that your music or your art is rubbish.
Right.
You know, or that more people should appreciate you, you know, and more people should, you know, you should be more famous. You should be
The reassurances.
yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. And I think that, you know, particularly in our age now, I think we have this whole thing where we evaluate on how good we're feeling and how many thumbs up, likes you get, and you know, we're in this thing and followers and everything. And it's this constant like game that you've got to play, particularly if you're getting into something like music or in the arts. Like it becomes this constant thing, and it's always present. And so something that's already there, I think, has been it's being made
magnified.
It's magnified, right?
It's
so
magnified.
yeah. So that aside, like I feel
digitally magnified,
and you know, so I feel I put a lot of pressure on myself to have it figured out and to be more successful and to know what the way forward is, and for this music, my music, to be better, or for me as a person to be better. And you know, I think self-acceptance is this funny balance. Like when I've got it, when I've understood it, and I feel it is something that's healthy. It's when I'm able to not passively accept, you know, my humanness or my flaws, but to own them, and for it to be okay. You know, to have a sense of acceptance and basic, you know, goodness, feeling the basic goodness of yourself. But I think you still need to keep striving.
Absolutely. The evolution doesn't stop.
Right.
You have to keep evolving. Yeah.
But you can't hate on yourself.
No.
Because that takes up a lot of energy. And,
and I think most people do at some point. You know, like everybody experiences that I'm not good enough. Like silent voice inside our own minds. No matter how cool one is perceived outside, there's that, especially artists. Right? So on that note, let's talk about your art now, because that's one of the saviors. Right? It helps. It becomes an expression. It becomes an outlet.
Yes.
Your art, your gift, your music. Tell us where you're at with that.
Well, I have noticed through my creative process of I'm making a fourth record, that there's this, I'm coming to the, probably, I guess, like the spring, I guess it would be, of this new record. I don't know, it's a cycle, right? So
you're talking in terms of seasons, like.
I talk in terms of seasons, you know.
So you've had winter album and summer album. Metaphor?
More, yeah, as a metaphor, more in terms of, there's so many ways that you can look at it. I feel that I've written all these songs, I've recorded them, I've played them out, and now I'm about to release this record. And so these collection of songs are an evolution in the kind of music that I'm trying to write. They're songs inspired by a certain time in my life or certain things happening in the world. And, you know, the process will now carry on now that I release this record. Now I have to get behind it and play it out and you know, get behind it and love this part of me that's now a few years old.
This is amazing, man. Procession comes out spring, you say.
Yeah.
Right? And we're excited that you are actually going to share a gift with us here today, and tell me about the song you're going to play for us.
This song I wrote on the piano.
Is it part of the album?
It is part of the album.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's called Red Moon.
Moon.
I started playing piano again a couple years ago, and it was at a workplace that I do some casual work. It's a mental health drop-in center, and they had a piano there. So I just started tinkling on the piano, and this was one of the first songs that I had written. And I've always been fascinated with the sense of apocalypse, you know, whether that is in a very dramatic sense, an ending of things. Sometimes we're just so fed up with the way that the world is that we just want to start things again, you know, but apocalypse also has to do with realization and a change and a dawning of something new, not necessarily like you know, meteor hitting the earth or zombies overrunning the
Not
city.
in the literal.
Yeah, you know, it's like it can be a different thing.
That's amazing.
And this song probably ties in the most to the concept of the album of procession, this idea of cycles, that are greater than our understanding, whether they're cosmological and our placement in the universe, and how that affects our civilization and our consciousness as a whole. You know,
That's amazing.
you know, where there's ancient civilizations that have spoken about 27,000 years cycles, you know, which happens to be precession, happens to be this curvature that we have through space. So precession is precession of the equinoxes. So every 27,000 years on the equinox, certain constellations will reappear in a similar place, and they shift throughout the time, and this has an effect. So, but whether or not this is, you know, we've had these great civilizations, and we're at the bottom of the Kali Yuga, the Dark Ages. You know, it's an idea that we are a part of grander cycles that we can understand in our 70 to 90 years that we might be blessed to live as humans in this body.
Right. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited, super excited to for your album and then to see you perform that album, and I'm sure everybody's super excited to hear Buckman Coe sing one of his singles out of this album, The Red Moon. I personally love the moon, and I think the moon has so much significance to,
like an omen, you know.
Yeah, it is to everyone's being. There's so much power in the moon, and I'm excited for Mr. Buckman to take us to the Red Moon. Cheers! Thanks a lot, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Life and death, engage in a game that we can watch and learn the steps with each in and out breath. The pattern repeats upon itself, a circle without end. Red moon in the tarnished skies. Red moon, turn to me inside. Maybe gone too soon, but life finds a way to make it round again. Oh, it's a long ways to come around to find out. Make no mistake, my love, we were meant to collide and create red beauty in our wake to bring forth a supernova, like springtime blossoming into space from a love's embrace. Red moon in the tarnished skies. Red moon, turn to me
Turn to me